Wally here with 9 things you need to know before playing Dragon Quest XI S for the Nintendo Switch. Now the game has finally arrived. The very first game announced for the Nintendo Switch is here, and I've been playing a lot of it. Over 10 hours in the last couple of weeks and posting a lot of my playthrough on this channel. But in this video, I just want to talk about 9 things you need to know before playing. I actually restarted my game because I did not know a couple of these, and they made my life a lot easier once I did. So number 1, this is a Dragon Quest game. It is a traditional role-playing game. That means that it harkens back to the 1980s and 1990s when video games were a little bit more simpler. So don't expect all these bells and whistles as far as the combat goes, but you will be getting voiceovers, you will be getting high definition visuals, but as far as gameplay, it's a little bit more simple. You're just attacking, healing, using spells, and if that's not your style, this may not be the game for you. But if you go in it expecting just straightforward leveling up, gaining items, doing side quests, and just having a lot of fun with the narrative, with the stories, with the characters, and talking to non-playable characters, the NPCs around the world, then you're gonna have a great time. Number 2, Draconian Quests. Now, this is a feature, a group of settings that you can only activate before you begin a game. Once activated, you could turn them off while you're playing, but you can't turn them back on. So this is something that you really need to know before you start playing. While you're entering your name at the very start of playing Dragon Quest XI, when you start a new file, there'll be a small option to the right, I believe. If you press the X or Y button, I forgot what it says, but just follow whatever the on-screen prompt tells you to. It will bring up options, settings for Draconian Quests. That's just a fancy term for saying option that will make the game harder. One of the options that a lot of people really recommend is turning up the strength of the monsters, making the monsters stronger. Now, if you want just a easygoing, normal, relax, where you don't really have to grind playthrough, then do not turn these on. But if you want something that's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging, then by all means turn them on. I have 2 files, one with and without the strong monsters, and the strong monsters, I have to be a lot stronger, a lot higher level than I was at any given point in time than just in the normal mode. But it's a lot of fun because I actually have to think of my strategy and tactics with each battle. Now, if that's something that sounds interesting to you, then when you're putting in your name, make sure to go into that Draconian Quest settings and turn that one on. Additionally, the Draconian Quest has a lot of other options that you can tinker with to make the game more difficult or to make the game more strategic to your liking. So check that out before you begin, because you're not going to have an option to do so after you start the playthrough. Number 3, battle proximity doesn't matter. Now this was a little confusing to me because I'm so used to like Xenoblade, where you have moves like backslash or side slash where you need to relocate your character in order to do the most damage depending upon what side of the monster that you're on. Now in Dragon Quest XI S, when you're in a battle, you have a circle and you can freely move around that circle. So I was thinking, you know what, maybe if I repositioned my character behind an enemy, I will do more damage. No, that is just a way to make the battles seem more dynamic than they actually are. And for a while it felt good, but there is an option to turn that off if you do not want to take up more time moving your character during the battle, because it actually has no effect. And you can change that setting to make it into a more traditional turn-based battle system where you don't even have to worry about the pointless moving of your character. Number 4, you can run by holding the ZR button. Now I feel like a doofus because it took me a good 7 hours to figure this out. Because when you're on horseback, when you get your horse, you can hold ZR to gallop. The screen tells you that. That means you will be going faster on your horse. Now, I never thought of holding the ZR button when I wasn't on the horse, and they probably told me in some sort of tutorial to do it, because the game's really straightforward with telling you what buttons to press. I probably missed the prompt to tell me to run, but all of a sudden I started holding that ZR button, and I'm zipping around everywhere, getting places faster, and it almost feels like it's faster than a horse now. Don't take my word for it, but it is a faster way to traverse this giant open world that is Dragon Quest XI S. So when you're on foot, hold that ZR button down and you'll start running as fast as you can. Number 5, you gain a few experience points by running over enemies with your horse. This is something that's really awesome, and I think it's new to the S version, the Nintendo Switch version of this game. But if you're on your horse and you hold ZR, you will start going faster. Like I previously mentioned, you'll be galloping. Any enemies that you run over while you're galloping, as long as they're not too strong, you will gain experience points for them. Now, it's just a couple experience points, 1, 2, 3, 4. I had upwards of 5, And then there was one monster that was just so stronger than me that I thought I would run it over, but then I just encountered it into a regular battle because it was just too strong and I could not just squash it with my horse. But 1 to 5 experience points, that's nothing to scoff at, because if you're just doing a quick run up and down one of the pathways, you can find dozens and dozens of enemies, and of course these enemies respawn, so think of how quickly you can accrue hundreds of experience points if you're just mindlessly wandering up and down a pathway. I mean, that's actually how I leveled up a few times, so do not knock this until you try it, because it's a good way to gather up experience points in a pinch. Number 6. The Ultra Battle Speed makes battling and grinding just so much faster. I played a good 3, 4, maybe 5 hours out of my 10 with just the normal slow speed, but I wanted to get used to how combat goes and how the battle system works. But then after I really figured it out, it was pretty simplistic. I decided to go into the menus and change my battle speed from normal to ultra fast. That's a new setting for the Nintendo Switch version, and it really makes battling monsters a lot faster. I mean, really, battle's over within a blink of an eye, and I cannot be any more happier that this actually exists. Number 7. You won't have to grind that much on normal difficulty. Speaking of grinding, you do not have to go and grind. My suggestion is fight every monster that you see once along your pathway if you did not turn the Draconian Quest Stronger Monsters on. That way you will be at just the right level the game wants you to be, and you'll have just the right amount of gold that you need in order to buy new equipment. Any monster you see up and down the pathway the first time, fight it. If you have to heal and go back to a church or go to a bed in a village, go and do that and just continue on your pathway. You don't really have to do much grinding, wasting time, spending hundreds of hours just fighting the same monster over and over unless you really want to in this game. Now, if you're on the Draconian Quest and you did turn on the stronger monsters, then you're going to have to do a little bit more grinding. But luckily, there is the Ultra Battle Speed that I mentioned previously, so there's just a lot of ways to level up, whether you want to or you don't want to. So the options are there just for you. Number 8, Battle Tactics. Now this is something that I just recently got into around my 9th or 10th hour, but I'm figuring out that Battle Tactics is something cool to make battle systems go even faster. So I already mentioned I had Ultra Battle Speed up, making the battle go by in the blink of an eye, but also Battle Tactics is a way to give your characters preset commands and a focus so you won't even have to put in basically any button inputs. The main character, I always control that character, and any other additional party members, I have them acting wisely. So they're going to battle and use magic points and figure out the battle for themselves. But there came a time when I'm like, you know what, let me do that for my main character. So I put my main character to act wisely or to just be super aggressive. So my main character will just be battling and battling and battling. This is another good way just to have battles automated, shortened, sped up, so you get from battling to gaining experience points and gold and leveling up faster than ever before. It's a great system that you can choose what your characters should focus on, whether it's healing, not using magic points, battling, being more defensive. It's really up to you to choose what each character acts like in the course of a battle. So do not skip this feature. You can turn them on and off at will in a single battle. I would really recommend you try it because it made my leveling up and gaining experience points much quicker. And finally, number 9. Take advantage of the Nintendo Switch's handheld mode. And if you have a Nintendo Switch Lite, you don't have to worry about it because that is handheld only. This is a great game to do side quests, level up, gain items, traverse the world, explore, talk to non-playable characters, all those kind of side activities on the go. Whether you're watching something on Netflix, something on YouTube, you want to have something in the background, and you can mindlessly run over enemies in order to gain experience points on your horse. You can have all the automated process like the battle tactics and the ultra speed in order to speed up battles so you can gain experience points while you're watching your favorite show, listening to your favorite podcast, going on a walk, or what have you. Really utilize Nintendo Switch's handheld mode. I cannot say that enough. That is how I was able to get a lot stronger, quicker, while I was multitasking, enjoying 2 different forms of entertainment at once, shows and a video game. Dragon Quest XI is meant for handheld play, and then when you're ready, put it onto the big screen to enjoy that huge experience, because there's great voice acting, there's great music, there's great visuals. Everything, as I said 3 times already, is great in Dragon Quest XI-S for the Nintendo Switch. Well, there you have it. Those are my 9 things you need to know before playing Dragon Quest XI-S. And remember, if you want to make the game harder, check out the Draconian quest settings. If you want to make the battles faster, you can do that. If you don't want to grind, you don't have to grind. If you want to play in handheld mode, do that. There are so many options available for Dragon Quest XI-S, and there's so much content in this game, it is mind-boggling. This will last you probably 100 hours, maybe even more. I'm very excited for you. I'm very excited to be playing it. Hey, I wish I was playing it right now. But one thing for sure is Dragon Quest XI-S is here, it's available, and it's ready to play. As always, thank you for watching, thank you for listening to me ramble, and I'll see you in the next video.